I'm Alex and this is Justin, and we've taken time out of our working lives in Sydney to travel to some of Australia's most remote and beautiful places in our modified four-wheel drive, and we're filming our adventure along the way. Hi guys, it's Alex here from a.j.overlanding, and in this week's Big Lap Essentials we're going to talk through 5 simple things for your Big Lap budget, or budgeting for on the road. I'm coming to you from Cape Leveque and there's quite a lot of wildlife, so apologies if the bird noises are loud. But as I said, just 5 simple things for your budget. We will do a more detailed video next week on some of the spreadsheets that I track to track spend, and also how I did my budget, so tune in next week if you want some more detail. A budget is very individual, so number one is, what do I have? You can do the Big Lap on a small budget, or you can spend a fortune. So it really depends on what you have and what you want to spend on your Big Lap or whilst you're traveling. Are you going to work? So work out what is my maximum budget that I'm going to have. That's step 1. Step 2 is costs not to forget. A lot of people often forget a number of the costs that they're going to incur, and therefore when they're working out their budget, it's not a complete picture. The things that people often forget are those fixed costs, so those costs that come out every month or every or annually, which you don't think about. So your phone bill, do you have Spotify or Netflix that comes out? Do you have your car insurance coming up, or registration? And do you have health insurance? Do you now have storage costs because you're going travelling? So don't forget all of those fixed kind of direct debits that are coming out. In terms of variable costs, people often forget things like service costs. We're driving a long way, we're going to have to service our car. Are you doing it yourself, or are you going to pay someone? But just make sure that those costs are in your budget. Parks passes, transport, those sorts of things, make sure you're including. Now those costs can vary massively depending on where you go, so also think about, what am I intending to do on my Big Lap? Number 3 is, things don't always go to plan. Make sure you have a contingency or a buffer in your budget, just in case. So you might break down, you might get stuck or delayed somewhere, you might have some medical costs, you might accidentally run over your GoPro and need to buy a new GoPro. So make sure that you've got enough buffer in your budget for those costs. Number 4 is, track what you spend. There's no point having a budget and then getting halfway around and you spend all your money. So you don't have to track every little expense. I do, and again, tune in next week for kind of a more detailed spreadsheet on that. But if you've worked out, I'm going to spend X a week or X a month, just check your bank account frequently and make sure that you've got half your money left at the halfway point. And if not, how are you going to fix that? Our 5th point is actually how you can save money on the road. So we have a rewards card. We have a Woolworths one, but you can have Flybys or whatever else, and therefore we try and get our discounts there and shop there. We also use that at the Caltex and always get 4 cents off or 8 cents off a litre if we buy some sweets. So look on things like petrol, spy, where can you get fuel from. The fuel actually varies massively from 2 servos next to each other, so always do some research, because fuel is going to be one of your biggest costs. Wiki Camps is great for looking for, can I go free camping? So those sorts of things are great ways on how you can save money on the road. Our final little tip is, always make sure you have some cash. There are some places that don't take card, especially some of the national parks camping where you're not booking online, and laundry always needs coins. So always have a little bit of cash on you is our little bonus tip. I hope that was helpful. I'm just going to quickly run through the top 5. So what do I have? Cost not to forget. Things don't always go to plan. Track what you spend and try and save money on the road. Tune in next week for some more detailed talk on budgeting and tracking your spend, because as an accountant I love a spreadsheet. So tune in next week for that. Thank you. Like and subscribe.